Hello, welcome to Winged Horse Designs. I'm Donna Goodwin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Brookings, South Dakota. Today I'm going to show you this, this floating centerfold panel. So when you open it up, all the way up, the lighting's a little strange here, you have this panel here in the middle that's kind of floating in air, and I'm going to show you how to get that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras and start showing you this card. Okay, here's a better view of it. So when it's all folded up to fit in the envelope, and it will fold up perfectly to fit inside a standard envelope. So when you have it all folded up, it fits like this in the envelope. And then when you open it up, it opens up like this, and you have this floating panel on the inside. Now you can do it as a plain panel, or you can do it the way I've done it here as a little mini card on the inside. So it's really a lot easier than it may look. A couple things I want to talk about before I actually start showing it. You could use designer series paper for these panels, these 6 different panels on the edges, or a combination of panels and embossing like I've done here. You could even use designer series paper here as well if you like. Or you can stamp your own paper, which is what I've done here. So I'm going to set this up here in the corner. I'm using the Sweet Citrus Bundle. So you can create lemons, limes, grapefruit. I've seen some people actually turn these into coconuts. And it comes with some cute little greetings. So we're going to use this outline here with these 4 pieces here. And then we're going to come in and we're going to stamp these inside of it. So it's a 2-step stamping. And then you have this cluster of 3 flowers. I am going to use that. And you have these flower centers and then this one center over here. And I have combined them on my block so that it stamps these 2 together and then this one here. So I just stamped this and then I lined these up so that it would stamp as well. And we're going to use these leaves. And we're going to use some masking paper as well. But it comes, if you buy the bundle, you've got the stamp set, you've got a 3D embossing folder, and you have the dies, which will cut out this image here, this big image. You have 2 of these single flower dies and 2 of the flower clusters, and then 2 of the leaves. So you don't have to sit there and cut and cut and cut and cut if you need multiples of anything. You can cut 2 at a time. You'll need a card base that measures 5.5 inches by 10 1/4 inches. I'm using one of the colors that's coming in Tuesday. This is called Lemon Lolly. Isn't that a beautiful yellow? Even with the lighting kind of strange the way it is in the afternoons, it's a gorgeous color. You're going to want to score from both sides at 1 3/4 inches, 3.5 inches, and 4 1/8 inches. And then the same thing from this side. You don't need to write those measurements down as they are in the description. So I'm going to fold this one as a mountain fold. And then I'm going to do a valley fold. And I'm going to do another valley fold. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. We're going to do a mountain. And then we're going to do a valley and a valley. So I'm going to use my bone folder and give some nice good creases on those. And so what you have is these open out and you have this center panel here. So this is what it looks like from the top. Okay. So that's the card base, and I'll come back and do some more work with that in just a bit. Since I chose to do a mini card, mine is 3 inches by 6 inches, scored in the middle at 3 inches. You could certainly just cut a flat panel at 3 by 3 and just use it as a flat. I need oh, I realized I only cut one. I need two pieces that measure 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, or just a smidge smaller than my mini card or your mat, whichever one you're doing. I'll have to cut another one of those real quick. And then you need 6 panels, a combination thereof, that's 1.5 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Now I have left these together for the moment because I'm going to stamp this background here, and I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the whole background and then cut it in half. So these are 3 by 5 1/4 so that I can stamp. But if you're doing your panels, 1.5 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And then I chose to do 2 of my panels with embossing. So these are also 1.5 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So let's go ahead and do our stamping. And then I'm going to come back and talk about how we get that floating effect on this one. I've chose 3 ink colors today to work with. I'm going to use crushed curry for the outside of my lemon. I'm going to use the new Lemon Lolly for the inside of my lemon. Wow, the sun's coming in strange. And then Garden Green for my leaves. I'm going to just kind of set these a little bit off and bring them in when I need them. Bring in some scrap paper to protect my desk here. And I'm going to stamp these in the crushed curry. The Lemon Lolly made the card, and I thought look all way too light. So I'm just going to stamp randomly on both these pieces. And you're going to have to bear, and I'm just going to rotate it occasionally. I did not pre-stamp these. So we're going to do all the stamping. And you're going to see here in a minute what I mean by I lined these up so that they would fit, so that I could stamp 3 of the flowers at one time with the centers. Now this stamp here is connected, this one is not. And I'm just going to stamp all over this entire cardstock. Just rotating the stamp around. And there you have these 2 pieces. We'll cut those 2 in half, but while we have the ink pad out, we may as well do this panel here. So I'm going to bring in the outline and stamp it. We have this one that's only a partial, like a slice, so I want to line that up on the edge. And then we'll bring in the Lemon Lolly. And we'll fill in our lemon slices. These bigger stamps, it's actually easier to bring the stamp pad to the stamp than this stamp to the ink pad. I'll line that up in the inside of those. And I have some nice lemons, but how about some leaves behind it? So I created, by just stamping the outline, I created, and then cutting it, I created some masks. Now I did use the Stampin' Up! Masking paper, but you could use any type of, like a Post-it note. And then I just trimmed it in tight so that I can put it over the image, so that when I stamp my leaves, they'll look like they're behind my lemons. So I'm just going to lay those down, and then I'm going to bring in Garden Green, and I'm going to stamp my leaves. I'm just basically trying to fill in a little bit of that background. And I think that's going to look nice. I'm going to leave that garden green out. And I can reuse those masks over and over again until they lose their stickiness. So I'm going to set that piece aside. And I'm going to bring in our greeting that I'm going to stamp as well. Okay, so this piece is too small. That piece is a little bit too big. I'll slide all this out of the way and bring my trimmer, since I forgot to cut that piece. And I'm going to cut this at 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. I forgot. I'm so used to doing just one piece without a mini card that I forgot that I needed 2 of these. But while we have the trimmer up, we might as well cut these in half. So we're going to cut these to 1.5 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And for the inside, I just simply put a sentiment in there. I didn't add any more lemons because we need a little bit of room to write. And so our sentiment says, "Have a zesty birthday." And I'm just going to stamp that near the top. Close up all these ink pads so that I don't get anything in them, mainly my fingers and my cardstock. Move this grid paper out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, I do need that trimmer still. So let's bring this back. We are going to cut out from the second score line to the other second score line, up 1.5 inches and down 1.5 inches. And you can do this with scissors or you can do it with your trimmer. I find it just as easy to do with the trimmer. So I'm going to line it up at 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to bring my cutting blade in. And I have a little tick mark here on my cutting blade. Not sure how yours works. I can line it up on this score line. I'm going to cut down to this score line. And I'm going to rotate it and do the exact same thing. You could put it in your trimmer and then cut the trimmer down and then up. It's just as easy to use scissors and cut along this score line up to that cut line. And you're going to toss that piece aside. And toss this piece aside. And what you have when you're looking at it flat is kind of a H type of shape. So let's just go ahead and start gluing everything together here real quick. So we'll take our mini card and we'll put our inside in it. And you can see that this is a really fast and easy fun fold card. I'm going to set that aside before I glue it on here and put all my panels in here. So let's just go ahead and put these panels in. I have opted to put my stamped panels closest to my center floating panel. I need to flip this, sorry, it just makes it easier for me to work with. And then we'll glue in our embossed panels. If you like what you're seeing with the videos, please do like, comment, and share. I enjoy the love. And others may enjoy what you enjoy as well. So I'm going to hold this one down a little bit because it does have these embossed pieces, so it's kind of need to add a little bit of weight and pressure to it till the glue has a chance to dry a bit. And if you would like to order any of these products and you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. So we'll just kind of hold that down. You can find, and if you would like to order from me, my April host code, I'll leave that up just for a second. You can always pause this video in order to write that down. And that's good until Monday. Monday, I'll have a whole new code. And if you're new to me, welcome. You can find me at wingedhorsedesigns.com, Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube, also all at wingedhorsedesigns.com. Let's put our two front panels on. Now this is my last video for the month of April. So the last of the fun folds for a little while. May means a new focus. And in May, I'm going to do technique cards. So starting Monday, it'll be technique cards. I'll be live on Monday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Now for this one, I'm just going to put the adhesive on this panel. If I put it around the edge on this panel, it's going to come up across the top and it'll stick to the sides and have adhesive up here, and I don't want that. So I'm actually going to put it, since the panel is the smaller piece, or I shouldn't say panel, I guess I should say brace or bracket, something to that effect. I'm not sure what we would call this. Let's just call it the bracket. And then we can line this little mini card up on here. And then when we fold this card up, this folds in underneath, and these fold over. So you get that H effect. Ooh, lighting is really bad. You get that H effect again. We need some bling. And it was just here. Well, it was just here. So I'm going to put some bling on this one, just like I did on this one. I just put a few little iridescent pastel stones on this one. So that's one version of a floating panel card. Last summer, I did this card as a floating panel, and I'll put a link to that. It was on Facebook. Back then I wasn't doing YouTube, so it's on Facebook only. But if you click on my blog that goes with this video, if you're watching on YouTube, you can get over to the blog, which will have a link to this video. And in this one, it was a gatefold card that when you open it up, it had these two panels that floated left and right. And I did that last summer. So if you'd like to go back and review that, there'll be a link in the description on YouTube to go to my blog that has a link to the Facebook. And if you're in Facebook, there's a link to that that will take you to this video from a year ago. So I hope you enjoyed this centerfold. Ooh, terrible lighting. Hope you enjoyed this centerfold floating panel. And just again, I will be here live on Monday, 10 a.m. Central Time, starting with the first technique in May. And we'll have 9 different techniques that I will show you during the month of May, and using a lot of the new colors that came and returning colors with our color refresh that we had that goes in effect and is available for you to order Tuesday, May 2nd. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Happy trails.